Well, friends, we've arrived. It's the holidays. It's the most wonderful time of the year. Time to kick back a little, time to be with friends and family, time to make merry, and time to enjoy some holiday traditions. Maybe you and your family go out and you bring home a Christmas tree, or maybe you just dust off the old fake tree in the garage. For many of us, it's time to bust out that Christmas playlist. Last year, I started a new tradition by compiling a playlist full of only covers of Last Christmas. For me, nothing rings in the holiday cheer like a little Wham. There's just something about wholesome holiday tradition, whether it's peppermint mochas or Die Hard.
So get together, have a few laughs.
That just adds that extra warmth to the season. But I've got one problem. There's one holiday tradition that I just cannot get behind, and that's this. Elf on a shelf. What is that? I mean, who decided it would be fun to add a little creepiness to the holidays? I mean, I never grew up with this tradition, but apparently an elf enters into your home and acts as a scout for Santa, spying on children to then report back to him whether the kids have been good or bad. And then it gets worse. The elves, they don't move during the day, but only at night. And so on each new day, the elf reappears in a new spot in the house. Is this not the creepiest holiday tradition? Unless, of course, you're German and you know all about Krampus, but that's a whole nother story. Now, combine that with the fact that we hear songs with words like, "You better watch out. You better not cry. You better not pout. I'm telling you why. He sees you when you're sleeping. He knows when you're awake. He knows if you've been bad or good. So be good, for goodness sake." Think about it. Now, unfortunately, I think this is how we perceive God sometimes. And whether you're Christian or not Christian, whether you consider yourself religious or non-religious, I think we've all at one point, or maybe we still do, feel like God is just this being who's out to keep an eye on us, waiting for us to break his rules. But is this really the case? Is this really who God is? I for sure have definitely felt this way growing up. I remember being a kid hearing things like, "Watch out, he knows what you're up to." And to be fair, that is true to a degree. The Bible tells us that God knows us better than anyone else, and he definitely sees us. But is it just so that he can wag his finger at us? Well, here's what we know. Throughout Scripture, we see one major trend, and that's this: God drawing near to his people to be in relationship with his people. And that ultimately culminates in Jesus. Jesus comes down, God in the flesh, and he does something crazy by essentially casting his God status aside to then walk alongside us and then to do life with us as a fellow human, complete with our weaknesses and our limitations. Jesus suffered the same pain, sorrow, and temptation that we suffer from. And so he understands firsthand all of our deepest struggles. He's not just some far off God. Jesus lived like us and with us. But it gets better, because Jesus not only suffered with us, he suffered for us, dying on the cross to save us from the effects of sin and then to bring us into life-giving relationship with God. John chapter 3 tells us that Jesus came not to condemn, but to save. And God comes down in the flesh, and then he shows us what pure, perfect love looks like. And that's just beautiful. It's beautiful. And so, friends, enjoy the peppermint mochas, enjoy Die Hard, enjoy the seasonal festivities and the time off. But stop, pause, and just consider the greater gift. Consider the greater gift that brings hope when all feels hopeless, peace in the midst of anxiety, joy amidst sorrow, and true love that triumphs over hate. Merry Christmas and happy holidays, everyone.